Hello, everyone. This is Maria Fakis. I'm Executive Director of Adonis Fertility International, and we are North American headquarters of the Adonis medical group of companies, which is located in Kiev, Ukraine. But myself and my team, we are here in beautiful Colorado. And so today I'm so excited. We have an amazing guest, Oksana Lutsenko. Am I pronouncing your last name correctly?
Perfect. Yes.
Yes. All right. Okay. So Oksana is the senior attorney. She's a senior attorney for the Adonis Medical Group of Companies, specifically dedicated to the assisted reproductive technology. Okay. So this is really your main focus, because I know there are other legal teams working in the medical group, but that's what you're focusing. Is this correct?
Yes, absolutely correct. This is my focus. Actually, I'm a lawyer for the head of the International Legal Department of Adonis, which and I deal with IVF and surrogacy cases.
Okay, perfect, phenomenal, great. Well, that's exactly why we're here today. We want to talk about everything to do with the legal side of the assisted reproductive technology, and specifically, surrogacy is a big focus because I know many families on the call, that's what they do, or they might be already in the process, or they're going through the process. And of course, also some of the programs that also involve donor programs. So I would love if we touch on that as well. Okay, sounds good. So before we jump into the questions, do share a little bit about yourself, your background, how long you've been working with assisted reproductive technology, legal side.
Okay, so as I said before, I'm a senior lawyer for International Legal Department of Adonis. I worked for Adonis for 6 years. I'm the part of the team since the first surrogacy case was taking place in Adonis, actually, and it was wonderful. It was so exciting, and it was the first view. I love these cases because I know it is so important for our clients to make the dream come true and to have this baby. Actually, I'm experienced with legal support in many countries, and not only with the United States, also Canada, UK, Israel, Australia, China, Japan, Spain, Sweden, New Zealand, and other countries, a lot of others. I know how surrogacy is important for our clients, how much time, money you paid for your dream. Yes, and I'm really proud to be here and to be the part of Adonis team and to guide you now.
Okay, no, thank you so much. Thank you. So to bring everyone up to speed, because again, families could be at a different point of the journey. Some already getting ready for the exit, ready to travel to pick up the baby. Yes, and some might be just at the beginning of the journey, or maybe some are just looking right now and thinking, is international surrogacy even an option? Could you just spend a couple moments talking about what are the requirements of Ukraine when it comes specifically to surrogacy? And let's also touch about egg donor, sperm donor, and just IVF as well. Okay, just in general.
Okay, yeah, so let me explain the situation with the legislation in Ukraine regarding surrogacy and IVF. I try to do it shortly. First of all, we are here and we meet here because surrogacy and another types of in the fertility treatment is absolutely legal according to Ukrainian legislation. Let me just read one sentence from the Family Code of Ukraine. So in case of transfer to another woman of a human embryo conceived by a spouse, male and female, as a result of the use of reproductive technologies, the child parents are the spouses. So from this article, we see that there are two requirements for intended parents. The first one is to be in a registered marriage, and the second one, the couple should consist of the male and female. So homosexual couples cannot use surrogacy and Ukraine. And also, when we speak about IVF and other IVF programs, donor programs, the same rules. Homosexual couples cannot use surrogacy in Ukraine. It can be the single woman, yes, who is suffered from infertility and don't have the husband or boyfriend, so she can use it, use some of the IVF programs. And it could be the couples not spouses, not in registered marriage, and they, in this case, they can use donors material, embryos, sperm, or oocytes. Okay, so
Okay.
in Ukraine, the main documents which regulate surrogacy in Ukraine and other IVFs, types of IVF, it is the order of Ministry of Health of Ukraine from in 787, the procedure of the use of the assisted reproductive technologies in Ukraine. Actually, according to this order, the paragraph 6 is about the surrogacy, and necessary conditions for surrogacy, according to this order, is first of all the presence of medical indications for this surrogate program. And if we speak about other types of IVF, it is also the requirement, the presence of medical indications for specific IVF program with donor oocytes or sperm, or donor of sperm, or donors, embryos, etc. So for IVF program, that is all. We only should go with the medical indications for specific program. But when we speak about the surrogacy, the next requirement is that the spouse in whose interest the same surrogacy program is performed should have the genetic link with the child. So it is important that, for example, one of the intended parents may have only one, yes, may have at least one. But if wife or husband have indications for using donor oocytes or donor sperm, then they can use donor material, and even so, both of intended parents will be legal parents. The last one requirement, that the surrogate mother should not have a direct genetic link to a child. Yes, there are some requirements for surrogate mother, of course, to start the program. She has to be adult person. She has to have her own healthy child. And for some medical contraindication, don't have any medical contraindications to the surrogacy program. Actually, yes, and in Ukraine, it is very important that, according to our legislation, the surrogate mother does not receive any parental rights in relation to child born through in the result of surrogacy program. The legal parents of the child born to a surrogate mother are considered like legal parents, and it will be exclusively genetic parents. That is, the child's genetic parents are protected at the at legislative level, and they will be immediately recorded as parents of the child in a birth certificate.
Okay, all right. So independent of what country parents are coming from, I just want to make sure, like, this rule is general for everyone. That's one of the big actually advantages of the Ukraine legislation, that the parents of the child born through the surrogacy are only the legal parents, the intended parents, not the egg donor, not the sperm donor, not surrogate mother, right? And if I'm understanding correctly, there is absolutely no way that the surrogate could ever claim any rights or have, or her name could be in the birth certificate of a child. Is this correct?
Yes, absolutely. No chance for surrogate mother. And also she knows why she come to this program, and she signs a special agreement, and there are a lot of rights and obligations of two parties, and this agreement in detail regulates the relationship between surrogate mother and the intended parents, and this is the double protection for the intended parents to protect their rights.
Thank you so much. Hey guys, if you could in the chat put which country you guys are coming from, because as Oksana will be sharing some of the information, she could be making a reference. We do know that we have quite a few people coming from USA and Canada, but please, if you're coming from any other countries, help us understand. So thank you so much, and thank you as you're typing this in. Okay, and I know we're kind of sitting a little bit on that, but I know it's, you know, that question about parental right establishment, okay, and really also decision making in the process for the parents. It's a big question. In the United States, for example, not every state is supporting surrogacy in the same way. Right, in some states, parents even have to go through adoption process in order to become legal parent of a child, even if they have a genetic connection, right? So just to make sure again that everyone really clear. So in Ukraine, no adoption is needed, you know, and it's really from the moment of conception, the way I'm understanding is that's how the law states, that from the moment of conception, from the moment the embryo transfer has happened, yes, the parents, the legal parents, the intended parents are the full parents of a child, and they are the one who are making decision about medical outcomes, things like that.
Absolutely, you're right. Yes, it is according to our family court, civil, family court of Ukraine.
Okay, all right, thank you so much. Before we jump into the exit process itself, and we did receive some of the questions from the families before joining the webinar, and thank you guys for submitting that, and thank you right now typing. So we do see we have quite a few people from US, some from Canada, but we do also have France, Austria, and we have Indian citizen from Canada, but Indian citizenship. So thank you guys, that helps Oksana to understand the framework. Talk to us. So one of the big benefits right now that is happening, you know, at least Adonis is doing it, and I know some other agencies are doing that as well, where surrogacy is possible to start without traveling to Ukraine. In the past, you know, family had to arrive to Ukraine, physically do the signing of all the documents, but right now families could start remotely, which is very convenient, especially if you have already embryos created, or you're using a donor program, egg donor program, for example. What is the process for start remotely?
So now we have like a proposal, like suggestions for our clients to make a special power of attorney at the country where patients lives. For example, it is actually power of attorney for now. It is the real option in the time of pandemic to simplify the process of the signing all the documents, because now in Ukraine it is very bureaucratic country, and there are a lot of documents which comes from our government that our clients and patients have to sign to start the program, or to not only at the start of program, in the middle of program, and etc. That is why we offer our clients to sign the power of attorney and to our special representative in Ukraine to simplify this process. We have the special person in Adonis who is responsible for signing documents on behalf of couple. We trust this person and asking her to come and sign all the documents only after the written consent approval by the email of the intended parents. So we usually show the drafts of documents in Dropbox and ask our clients, yes, if we can sign it on behalf of, if our representative can sign it on the behalf of them with the help of power of attorney. And only after confirmation we can do so. So it is really working and good option to do everything fast and to simplify the documentation process.
Okay, again, to make sure we understand. So you're saying in order to start the program remotely, especially the medical process portion does not require your physical travel to Ukraine. If you would like to travel, absolutely, we would love to welcome you, but you have an option to start the process remotely. To do that, families have to have power of attorney. So that you're saying that power of attorney, typically, at least at Adonis legal team, your team, you will draft that power of attorney, will have all of the needed information. And then are there any other steps to make this document legal?
Yes, of course. And this we show you the draft. You approve this draft, and after this, you have to come to the notary, to the notary of your state, for example, and to sign this power of attorney in front of notary. And notary also have to sign this power of attorney. And after that, it is depends of which the country is from which country is intended parents. But for example, in if we're talking about United States, we should ask for the apostille process for this power of attorney. The intended parents have to ask for this process. And for example, in Canada, it is the consular legalization, which consists of 2 stamps. The consular stamps and internal some legal authority. Other and India and France, the apostille too. I'm sorry.
Okay. So you're saying, so what I'm hearing is, so there is a portion where the document is notarized, and the reason it's notarized because someone needs to verify the identity of people who are signing the document, right?
Absolutely.
So then apostille is being received on top of that, and the purpose of apostille is what? Does apostille verifies the content of a document, or apostille verifies the identity of the entity that validated the signees, I guess. So
yes, apostille just make make the Ukraine sure that Ukrainian authorities, Ukrainian people who see this document, that it was legal, signed by special notaries or other authorities in US. So US states to Ukraine that it is legal. It was legal, conducted or signed in United States.
If it's done in the United States, or if it's in France,
yes.
apostille will verify
absolutely.
that, let's say, notary entity or county clerk or whoever is verifying the signatures and the documents of the people signing the power of attorney. So we're verifying really the identity of that person or entity. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So that's the purpose of apostille. All right. Great. And so then apostille and the power of attorney must be original, and then can it be scanned, or it physically needs to arrive to Ukraine in order to be used in the process?
At first, of course, we ask to scan it and show us, and after our approval, we ask couple to show it by the delivery company to Ukraine. Just our representative had the opportunity to use it before the notary, in clinic, in other entities.
Perfect. Okay, great. So then I know often we do get questioned about, because it's a scary thing, it could be a scary thing if we don't understand what is the content of a power of attorney, or what may be some best practices, what needs to be included in the power of attorney specifically for the cases of assisted reproductive technology and surrogacy. Could you walk us through? Because families who are listening to that, today, they could not necessarily be with Adonis, but I want to equip them maybe with some things they should know about power of attorney specifically for this process. Could you talk us through that, please?
Okay, of course. So if you want to issue the power of attorney of the special representative in Ukraine or another country, as you wish, so it should be some this power of attorney should be specific. You should specify in which programs or which act this representative have a right to do on behalf of you. Yes. So, for example, to sign all the documents regarding infertility treatment, in surrogacy case, and or donation case, in the specific medical center, for example, or with the specific agency. So it is better to specify which is in which cases you want to use this power of attorney. Yes. For example, to sign there that you give the opportunity to their representative to have access for their legal for their medical records on your name. Yes. To receive the information on your behalf from the medical centers, to sign documents about your biological material, to sign another medical documents, to sign documents about pediatric care of your child. It is in case if, for example, you will be in another country and your child has already born here due to pandemic. It is possible that now in the pandemic time.
Okay,
and
fantastic.
I think yes. So it's better that the power of attorney be more specific. In this way, yes. In this way, clients can protect their rights more in best
ways.
way. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So best practice of power of attorney, make sure it specifies the parties, make sure it specifies type of services when it can be used, the area of responsibility. What about the execution of the power of attorney? Does mechanism for execution, should it be outlined as well? And yes. Would you also talk about term of validity? This question comes a lot.
Yes, usually it depends, of course, of the program that you have already choose. Yes, or you are in the process of choosing the program. But usually clients put the term of validity approximately of 2 years, especially if they understand that this is not a short process. Yes, the first, you should include at least 9 months of pregnancy, and then to think about another conditions. That is why it's better, the best, and more often our term of validity, it's approximately 2 years. And after that, of course, it can be another term. It depends on the program and the wish of the client, because, for example, if the client know from the start of the program that they want to have two children that into program, for example, so they want to start with one and then have a child from this one and then to start another one. So it's better to have, for example, 4 years, to put 4 years in the power of attorney.
Okay, with that term of validity, the questions always comes up. Does the power of attorney automatically stops its power as soon as the program is done? Does the term of validity needs to be exactly precise? You know, do families need to notify in writing that the power of attorney stopped? Like, what are your suggestions?
So it is a strict rule that from the moment of signing and during, for example, 2 years, if you signed the 2 years, it is from this moment there is no power for this power of attorney. Yes. And actually, if, for example, one of the parents, I don't want to think about it, and one of the people who issued this power of attorney died, actually it is don't have any force from this moment. And
Okay.
of course, yes, and you have already asked me about the execution. So I just want to say again that our representative, we write in our power of attorney that this representative has the right to take any actions only after written consent with the help of emails of the actual principals. That is why that is very important that if we don't receive the confirmation from you, we can sign anything on behalf of you.
And not just sign, but if there are also some functions that are allocated to the
Yes.
representative that go beyond just signing of documents, nothing can happen without the written consent. Okay, thank you so much. So guys, make sure if you're working and you're designing power of attorney with another company or something, that you watch for some of those big blocks of information, right? Including the execution parameters of execution. So thank you so much. Now, I know families might be getting anxious and saying, why are we spending so much time on power of attorney? Guys, the reason it is so important, again, if you are not traveling to Ukraine to start the process, yes, then vital documents are required for the process, including surrogacy agreement with your surrogate mother, which when Oksana explains to you the exit process is one of the fundamental documents in your exit process, will be signed through your power of attorney. So if there is any mismatch, if the power of attorney is not created in a particular way, if there are any mistakes, things like that, you will have some issues, right, at the exit process. So that's why we're kind of pausing and spending time on the power of attorney. And before we jump into the exit and, parental right establishment, meaning like actually birth certificate, I know you talk about, just overall legality of that, but we'll talk about the birth certificate and the exit and embassies, things like that. There is a question that came up that I think will be good to clarify right now. Do we need power of attorney if we sign contract agreement with Adonis? Okay, so I think there is still misunderstanding. Two things are not exclusive. It's not either or. You have to have an agreement, with Adonis. If you're going with Adonis, you still will have to have power of attorney, correct? If you're not traveling to Ukraine to start the process, right? Oksana, would you pause for a moment again to share that?
Yes, absolutely. It is the best option to sign it, even if you have already signed the agreement with Adonis and with some of another Adonis legal entities that situated in Ukraine. Yes, that it doesn't mean that you don't have to do the power of attorney. Actually, we have a lot of documents, and there can be unexpected issues in the future. Yes, with your surrogate mother, it can arise. We don't know, unfortunately, for now, which I don't know how to say it. Which unexpected moments can arise in the future. That is why we should prepare power of attorney, even if we have already signed the documents with Adonis or other Adonis entities.
Okay. And when you mean even if you signed it while already being in Ukraine, so what you're saying is, no matter what, it is a good thing, good practice to put power of attorney in place and have that. But again, make sure you have all of the best practices within power of attorney itself. Thank you so much. All right, great. Well, with that, let us go. So talk us through mechanism, and maybe right now, if you could talk like not to a particular country, right? If there is a similarities, no matter what embassy you're going through, no matter which citizenship your child receives, talk us through the exit process. And guys, I don't know if exit process is what you're using. So you just understand when we're talking about exit process, it's literally your baby is born, you're holding your child in your arms, you're happy. Now you need to return to the country of your residency, right? So what is that? So we call it exit because you're exiting Ukraine, but you might call it something else. So how do you return back with your baby, and how do you ensure that the baby is yours and you don't need to do any extra steps? So please talk us like a big picture first.
Okay, so when your surrogate mother is pregnant, and of course I wish to all of you to feel this, our legal department is double check all the set of documents that you have already provided us with, and contact you in order to inform that we need, for example, something else. We need to prepare some documents for next 8 months of pregnancy of surrogate mother. But actually, usually, as we have already done everything before the signing of the contract with surrogate mother, usually the only document that we ask to prepare is a document which confirms the name change of intended parents. For example, in case when your name and surname in the passport is different from name and surname in the marriage certificate. In such case, we ask to prepare we prepare the draft of affidavit for the signing in front of notary, just to show it to our civil registry office that really this is the same person in different documents. So it's affidavit. It's actually the statement from the person that you are the same person in your passport and the same person in your marriage certificate, but your names in such documents are different. So actually the procedure is the same like with the power of attorney. The notary have to sign this also, and then you should apply for the legalization, apostille or consular legalization. And actually you should keep it before the next visit to Ukraine, and after that our legal team will apply with it with help of it for the birth certificate.
Okay,
yes.
so just again, I'm a little bit, and I know everyone understands things differently, but I just want to my brain works in like big blocks. So I know we're talking about affidavit, right? So but I'm trying to allocate now where each thing falls. So first the baby is born, yes, but before the baby is born, what you're saying is that you're already reviewing all of the documents, preparing the documents for the exit process for the parents. If there is a difference in the name, let's say, in vital documents, let's say between marriage certificate and the passport, right? Sometimes woman takes husband's name or things like that, or there might be difference in how the middle name is spelled on documents. Then ahead of time, not when the child is born, but ahead of time, there needs to be a step, affidavit is issued, and it also needs to have apostille, right? Yes. Perfect. So, but then the baby is born. What are the big blocks? Like, is there something that needs to happen at the maternity hospital? Is there something that needs to happen for the birth certificate? And then where does the embassy fall? So could you give me those big blocks? And then maybe we could speak about each block individually.
Yes, of course. So I just want to say, actually, I talk about this affidavit because I think that this is actually the preparation steps before childbirth, yes, but and also like DNA tests or collecting or ordering the DNA kits. But actually, yes, if we speak about baby birth, so the first step, for legal step after baby birth will be the receiving the birth certificate in the civil registration office of Ukraine. And at this stage, our legal team, actually, this is the responsibility of our legal team to collect all the set of documents for registration. And actually, even we can apply it by ourselves, by our legal team of lawyers. And then when birth certificate is ready, it depends actually between 2 to 7 days approximately. Both of parents have to come to registrar, put their signatures and pick up the birth certificate. Oh, and of course, the legal team will accompany during this process, but this is possible to do how to say it, Maria, to not so much involve the parents in this process, that just to simplify that lawyers can collect all the documents and only wait for the parents come to Ukraine. Actually,
Got
from
it.
the
Go ahead.
so what do you think? Should I tell some words about documents for the civil registration office,
I think that
which
would
are
be
required?
interesting. Yeah, because those documents are really independent of a country, right? So again, we're talking about right
Yes,
now the
absolutely.
first portion. We're not talking about your countries of citizenship yet, none of that. We're saying the baby is born. Like you're saying, attorney typically would prepare all of the documents and then registers child with a registrar's office, which I believe belongs to each maternity hospital, right? Depending on where maternity hospital is, that's the
Yes,
registrar
of this
office.
district. Yes, of
Of
the
the-
district where
Okay.
its maternity house is situated. Yes.
Okay. And then the purpose of that registration is the outcome of that is receiving birth certificate for your child. Yes, where again, only parents are listed as the intended parents. Legal parents are listed as the parent of a child. So to the whole world, it looks, no one knows that it came through surrogacy. There is no mentioning of a surrogacy. There is no mentioning of a surrogate mother, no mentioning of egg donor, sperm donor, right? Just to the whole world, it's your child born to you. Yes. So yes, I think that would be helpful. Yeah. Do tell us which documents are needed for that step.
Okay. So the list of documents is the next. First of all, it is your passports, your valid passports, and we should prepare for you beforehand. We prepare the translation of your passport to Ukrainian language because in Ukraine we cannot use another language except Ukrainian, the national language in our country. Copy with translation of the legalized marriage certificate with with translation to Ukrainian too.
And I'm so sorry, when you're saying legalized marriage certificate, you mean it's a marriage certificate with apostille. Got it. Okay.
With an apostille or consular legalization, for example, for Canada, yes.
For Canada, consular. Okay, got it.
Okay, then the certificate of genetic link of fetus and genetic parents. Actually, this is our Adonis internal document from Adonis IVF clinic, which our legal team is preparing during the pregnancy of surrogate mother. So we are definitely responsible for it, and we are preparing it.
Okay, so genetic is okay.
Yes, actually, for example, the United States Embassy asking about this document in English too. So it is not a problem at all to prepare such document.
Okay.
And then medical birth certificate, which comes from Adonis maternity house. It declares that this woman gives birth to this child.
So again,
and some information about child.
Perfect, but not to confuse, this medical birth certificate is not something that the world will see. No one has access to that except the medical institution, which is kept confidential, and the registrar's office. Is this correct?
Absolutely,
this is literally,
yes.
Okay, so this is a statement of birth, but it's not really a birth certificate as actual birth certificate. Okay, got it.
Yes, actually, it's like the medical document.
So medical document of an act of birth.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yes, the original of this medical birth, we will we'll apply with the medical birth certificate in original, and the copy with translation also. In case if it will be the U.S. Embassy, we should provide U.S. Embassy with the copy of this medical birth certificate too. Next document.
Go ahead. And when you say U.S. Embassy, because we do have also Canada, France, here
for
in
example,
Austria.
For Canada, they
don't.
For example,
go ahead.
Let me just check. I remember that yes, actually yes, medical birth certificate with translation was required by the Canadian Embassy too. Yes, and the same for France Unfortunately, I don't have such cases for France and Indian citizens. That is why I can tell you about this, but usually this document is required by a lot of embassies. That is why, yes, it could be required by the embassy of France and India too.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we have passport, marriage certificate with apostle, genetic affinity, which is created by the medical institution, and medical act of birth. Is there anything else that is needed for the registration?
Yes, of course. One of the main documents, it is a notarized statement from the surrogate mother that she declares that she has no rights for the baby and give all the rights to the intended parents, like legal parents actually. Yes, legal parents. So I'm our legal team preparing this document too, and approximately on the second or third day from the day of birth, when surrogate mother feel better, we can come to her, and notary have to come and authorize her signature that said that this is statement and the signature of surrogate mother is real, and her wish is real. So this is one of the most important documents that also is required by United States Embassy and a lot of others, especially in Canada too, in Canadian Embassy too. But I don't know about France and India, but usually, yes, it is required by other embassies.
Okay, all right.
I mean, only just a copy of it and translation in English. So the original, we should give it to the civil registration office, and the translation, the copy with translation, we can provide it to embassy.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Okay, I do have a question about that, but maybe we'll loop back to this question because we have like 20 minutes left, and I still want to get also to the embassy portion as well. So if time allows, I will ask you the question. So then those documents are being prepared, registrar's office issues the birth certificate, the legal team accompanies, it's all done. And then embassy portion starts. So what is the typical process? Right now we could talk about USA. We do have more families on USA, and then maybe you could mention deviation for Canada, France as you go along. So what is the process then?
Okay, so just before the start the process, to start to talk about the process, I want to divide it into 3 parts. So first part, it DNA testing appointment or DNA testing part. Then the in Canada for now, from last year, it is not actually a requirement, but for embassy of United States and the most embassies all over the world, the United is requirement. It is the appointment for yes. The second part is actually the passport processing, or in case of US, it is consular report of the birth abroad processing. But may I start, for example, for the DNA, because actually now it is it's changing, because for example, when we speak back about the United States, usually I just want to see this trick about DNA. about DNA, the embassy of USA in Ukraine requires DNA test to confirm genetic link between baby and the parents who actually, of which this genetic material was used. Yes, so not if one of the parents didn't give his material, yes, genetic material, that he shouldn't pass the DNA test. But the situation with COVID pandemic can change this requirement, and the embassy changed the rules from time to time, sometimes cancels the DNA requirement and returns it again. And it is very, very important to check this requirement with the embassy. For example, in 2 months, then in 1 month before the delivery and 1 week before delivery, just to be sure that DNA, the status of DNA, if it is required or not. And because it is difficult process, DNA is required out in the certified laboratories, for example, in the United States, or I don't know, for if we speak about Australia, or we speak about UK, it is laboratories in these countries. That is why we should to prepare for the collecting DNA. We should order, parents have to order the special DNA kits for conducting DNA in the laboratory. Yes, the actually clients can choose this laboratory approximately before 2 months to come to Ukraine, before 2 months of delivery, some delivery. They should send this DNA kit. So, and for DNA, that's all. So we should just to ask in some periods of time, yes, ask if anything was changed, because actually we have some cases. Do you know, Maria, do you remember when from this moment, from the 1st of October, the DNA test is required, and from, I don't know, from 1st of December, it is not required anymore. So we should understand it and be just know about this, that this is changeable requirement.
Okay. So what you're saying is the best practice. So typically when it comes to embassy, there are big blocks like DNA testing. It could be required, it could be not. Then there is a passport processing and consular report of birth abroad, right? These are the big blocks. But you're saying is that it is the best practice to do the planning maybe a couple months before the birth of the child, where the latest status from the embassy could be received. Yes, on all of those requirements. And typically you see the same
Absolutely.
paperwork is needed, but it's really the DNA testing that could seem to be changing its status. Okay, great. Perfect. So DNA testing done. So the family has the birth certificate. What typically the paperwork that is needed for the embassy? Is it everything that you already gathered?
Okay, first of all, it's a birth certificate, yes, that we have already received at the civil registration office, Ukrainian birth certificate. It should be legalized. For Canada, they don't ask about the consular legalization. It means legalization, yes, to use it in outside the Ukraine. But for example, in USA, they ask about legalization and they ask about an apostille. So we should put an apostille of the birth certificate and make the translation. But in for Canadian, for example, we should only make the translation to English or to French, and this is enough. I think that for other countries, actually the same requirements, can be used. It should be translated into the origin language of the citizenship, and also should be apostilled or to make the consular legalization. But in Ukraine, the apostille, it is, for example, it takes about 1-2 days. It is fast procedure in Ukraine.
Okay, all right.
Yes, the second document that I have already told you about the medical report, yes, the medical birth certificate, yes, about the fact of the birth, and it should be also translated, and only the copy of it. Also, parents have to prepare their passports, original passports, and original marriage certificate. And for example, for United States, evidence of physical presence in the United States before the birthday of the birth of the baby. And also some the same like certificate that I have already told about the proof of genetic material was used in surrogacy process.
Okay, all right.
And the statement from surrogate, I think, and some other, application forms for passport or the report of the birth. Yes, it is actually in every embassy, they have such special forms.
Okay. So check, with a particular embassy. So, and then outcome of this process is the document, or is it a passport for the baby with the nationality, citizenship? Like what do parents get?
For example, for United States, first they'll get consular report the birth abroad. It means in Ukraine, yes. This is like the special document on behalf of which it is possible to issue the passport, to receive the passport for baby. So yes, the last document will be the passport, but like in the middle of this procedure will be also the special appointment for the consular report the birth abroad.
Okay.
And for Canada, it is only the passport, for example. There are no consular report of the birth. And I think in other countries, the same.
Okay, like France?
The passport is the last.
Yes,
okay. Yes. I'm not sure. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not sure about France because it was the strictly for some time, some period of time, the embassy of France informed us that please tell your clients when they ask you about possibility to make the surrogacy in Ukraine that is strictly prohibited in France, and they should just tell them this and ask them to find out how to proceed with this with French attorneys, yes, which French consultants, to be sure that it is possible that you will not be punished in the France. So from Ukraine side, we can make for any clients, for any citizenship, but it depends. Also, it depends on the position, yes, to the surrogacy of this specialized country.
Okay, got it. So I guess what I'm hearing, because there was also a question that came about Austria, and you did say it's a similar situation. So Austria really, because Austria does not recognize surrogacy, right? Or prohibits surrogacy, that really the step needs to be, the first step, the due diligence needs to be done with your own country, just to understand how the parental right establishment will be done for your country specifically, and then already proceed with the Ukraine. But as far as, like you're saying, the Canada, United States, United Kingdom, for example, China, some other countries who are very supportive of surrogacy, the steps are quite straightforward of what you have said, and there is no extra extra steps are needed on parents' behalf. Couple questions came in. Number one is DNA kit, and I believe that you guys from United States, so DNA kit from United States. How is this being, the kit is being ordered? You know, does Adonis provide the kit or is it being ordered? So that's a great question. So would you respond?
Yes, so actually clients can choose the certified laboratory from the list of the approved laboratories by the Embassy of United States, and order this DNA kit by themselves to choose which is appropriate for them, which laboratory is appropriate for them, and which is convenient, or I don't know, not so expensive, I don't know how, and just to order the kits by themselves and to send on the address of the Embassy of the USA in Ukraine. I mean, yes, in Ukraine.
Okay, so it's a very special process that is dedicated by the embassy of the country. It talks maybe about integrity and validity of the process, where it cannot be done by the medical institutions who are involved in the process, but it needs to be in approved third-party locations. And then parents never touch, no one is touching really that DNA kit. It goes from the approved lab that is being ordered, you know, let's say in USA, it travels directly to the embassy, is being administered at the premises of the embassy, never leaves it, you know, like Adonis cannot administer it or any other medical institution. It's being sealed right there at the embassy, and it travels back to the laboratory. Okay, perfect. That sounds great. So another question is, does marriage certificate need to be apostille if the intended parent's passport has spouse information in it? Do you still require marriage certificate even if the passport itself has the names of the spouses?
Yes, actually, we ask about it. Not we, but our civil registration office is asking about this document. So it will be great to have it. Not be great, but they require it. So you have to provide us with this document.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So we literally have, guys, like 3 minutes. I would love to keep on top of the hour. So if you have any last minute questions, do please share. We had a question about some common mistakes and misconceptions. Would you talk about that? Just like things you see over and over, that just some mistakes are being made, that if we could have our families be aware of them and avoid them, that would be great.
Okay, I hope that actually we try to do everything to don't see these mistakes, or I don't know, some of the such moments, but usually that I have already told about the DNA testing appointment. So we should, it is better to know for sure if it is required for now or not, just to not waste the time. If, for example, you think that wasn't required for the time that you have already planned to fly to Kiev, yes, and you saw that okay, there is no requirements about DNA testing, but from this moment it is required, the start of required, and that is why it's better to ask embassy more closer for the time of delivery, to ask about this requirement. Is it works or not for this period? Actually, so regarding power of attorney, this is like, please be, I know that we in our team, yes, in our Adonis team, we prepare everything legal, but please, if you preparing with another agencies, I don't know, with another medical centers, please look through power of attorney and be sure that this power of attorney will give the powers for representative not only with IVF treatment, yes, with the surrogacy cases, but not to just to buy real estate, or I don't know, to make some presents on behalf of you. That's why it is important. I think actually that's all. Maria, do you remember something
Um,
else?
No, I think this is good. Some things also, guys, maybe what to close with, timing is always very important, right? So because when you have your baby, the baby is delivered, you're holding, you don't want to be sitting in Ukraine, for extended period of time. We do ask you to plan, at least for United States and Canada, we say, plan for about 3 weeks, but do notify your work, your job, that you might be out as long as 4 weeks, right? And have maybe open the ticket where, if needed, you could slide, shift the timelines of your ticket. But we do everything and anything possible to have you under 3 weeks, okay? In order to do that, there are some things that could extend your stay, because maybe some decisions were not made ahead of time. And sometimes it could be as maybe as simple as name of the baby. So if possible, do already have your name of a child selected before you even travel, okay? Because this will allow to start all the preparation of the documents, and as soon as the baby is born, turn in all the documents and start your process going, because that's where the appointments and everything, if there is a day delay or anything, that could delay your whole process, right? So just be considerate. And I know sometimes we're so excited as parents, we come and we say, the moment I see the baby, I'll know the name, and then I'm, so I just know that anyway, it seemed to be so simple, but it could result in a delay of your process. Okay, so just some things to be considered. Okay, great. So what I would like to maybe leave with is, if you guys have any specific questions, if you already does the document, the marriage certificate for apostle, does it expire? Great question. Does the document, marriage certificate apostle, expire? Do you know?
No, absolutely no.
Okay.
It is for all the time of no, it is just confirmation of the signature of the authority who has issued this document. That is why there's no term of validity for this document.
Perfect. Excellent question. And so I know offline, some of you were asking quite specific questions about your particular situation, your particular case. So please do respond to the email, the invitation, or feel free to get a hold of me as well. We'll have a follow-up email, and we could definitely organize a special consultation to look specifically in your case. Okay. But again, if there's anything we could do, so Ukraine is definitely phenomenal as far as supporting your rights as intended parents, and just the whole institution, of the establishment. And if the country is supportive of the surrogacy, then absolutely you will have a really quite comfortable journey and exit process. But before going into the process, always, let it be validated, let it be checked, just for your specific situation. How would it look like? So I guess, start with the end in mind, okay? We would rather do all of the due diligence ahead of time, and that's what we do with you, with your particular case, rather than having any surprises in the future. We just, that's not how we operate, and that's not how we want you to operate, okay? If you're doing it with any other companies. So make sure that, yes, ask questions before you start the journey. All right. Okay. Well, Oksana, thank you so much. It has been phenomenal, and thank you for all of your answers and all of the expertise.
Thank you. It was a pleasure not to see all the clients, unfortunately, to see all the hearers, but to see you, Maria, to know that some of them maybe we will see in the future.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. All right. Bye-bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye.